of the St. Louis Invitational, hosted by Missouri Baptist University. I'm Dan Matthews with Todd Walker. Our final game is going to pit the Kennesaw State Owls against the North Dakota State University Bison. North Dakota State played earlier today, and Todd Walker's here with me. Todd, what are we going to look for out of this game?
Well, Kennesaw State the other day, Dan, really impressed us with their ability to move the ball and find the open man for the good look, the good shot, and did a nice job scoring the ball. North Dakota State this morning, spectacular game against Davenport to come out with the win. Again, they spread the ball around. Good defense, good goalie play. The question is going to be whether North Dakota State is tired from that earlier game today, and whether Kennesaw State can step up and play the same kind of game they did on Thursday.
The Owls are led defensively by number 40, Mudzak, and he has a tremendous defensive game as well as ground ball ability.
Yeah, Mudrack is their shutdown D-man, and so far this weekend has been able to come out on top of all the matchups he's been a part of, and he'll be a big key to the game for defensively.
And without a doubt, he's likely to be matched up against attackman number 15, Peter Flock for North Dakota State, who picked up a hat trick in the game earlier against Davenport.
Yeah, Peter is a small, quick, fast attackman who had his third goal this morning. We have no idea how he managed to hold on to the ball, but did and managed to score on top of it. So he's going to be a handful for Mr. Mudrack.
As always, MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV is presented by Bam Shaft. Bam Shaft, the original lacrosse bamboo shaft, as well as Inside Lacrosse. Inside Lacrosse is the source for the sport. We'll be back with the opening face-off right after this. Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores! Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
Sports Network has the greatest lacrosse players in the world. The stars of the indoor game in the NLL. And the best field lacrosse athletes in the MLL.
The long wind-up and shot from a long pole barrel, and he scores.
The NLL premieres April 7th. And the MLL coming in June. CBS Sports Network, the new home of professional lacrosse. It's a game of hits, swagger, precision,
To keep their hopes alive here.
and grit.
With a flag.
Lacrosse, spring's toughest sport.
Whistler shot, he scores. Fires, scores. What a beautiful pass. Charges, he scores.
Don't miss Lehigh take on Navy. Friday at 7. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Welcome back to St. Louis, folks. We are at Gay Field, Centene Stadium in a suburb of St. Louis called Clayton. And this is the final of our 6 games here on Lax TV this weekend. This one pits the North Dakota State Bison against the K-State or Kennesaw State Owls. Should be a really good matchup, Todd.
I'm looking forward to this, hoping that that Kennesaw can bring the same game they brought the other day. We got 2 hot goalies, Andrew Flood pitted against Ryan Freeman, and hoping that that those guys stay hot, and we'll see if North Dakota State can shake off the weariness from the earlier game they played this morning, and what kind of game they come out with here.
I'm Dan Matthews with Todd Walker. Again, we're live in St. Louis, Missouri on Lax TV. Lax TV, changing the way you follow the game. It's North Dakota State and Kennesaw, and the Bison win the opening faceoff. You know, I know a lot of people who pick their NCAA brackets based on mascot. And I would have to say if we were doing the same here, yeah, just got to go to the Bison over the Owls, huh?
The Owls not particularly for being fierce, but they are very good hunters.
That's Flock behind the cage. He gives it up top to Kinzel. Kinzel will work it around offensively for North Dakota State. That big guy heading up this offense at the top is number 28. That's Alex Veldhuis. He's 6'3", 180 pounds, and he really kind of dwarfs all of his other offensive compadres.
And we have the matchup that we expected down on the wing here, Dan, with Mudrak on Flock.
Absolutely. If I'm Coach Anthony Grisanti, I want Mudrak on Flock too. Kennesaw gets the turnover and heads the other way. We were real impressed with the way Kennesaw moved the ball around in their first game. Forgive us, folks, those yellow numbers on these white jerseys are not always the easiest to see. We'll try our best to keep up with the pace of play and know exactly what's going on at all times for you. Ball's near side to Dockery. Dockery drops it. Ball, it's going to be scooped up by Casey Newton. Far side for Greenow. Back up top will set the offense. That's Andrew Congleton, number 13 for the Owls. Kennesaw is going to be patient. They're going to want to take the air out of the ball a little bit here in the early going and set the pace they want to play at.
Yeah, they did a nice job the other day, Dan, working the ball around and drawing the slide or the double team and then finding the open guy.
Congleton breaks free, and as you saw, put the ball wide of the cage. We've got a ground ball that's going to be fielded by North Dakota State. And Freeman will pick it up and start the clear for the Bison. That's Flock. And he's got the ball up top. Max Foley is going to give it to the man coming on, Ben Alberts. Alberts, one move to the cage. He gets forced to the outside by Greenow.
I thought he had a step on him there, Dan. If he'd ducked that underneath to his left, I think he could have closed out his defender and gone to the cage.
That's Wroblewski up top. He gives it to Alberts near side. We're just underway. No score so far between the Bison and the Owls. Dan Matthews and Todd Walker at Centene Stadium's Gay Field. That pass errant. We've got an offsides call on Kennesaw. That was Bryce Mazur or Mazer. Ball goes over to North Dakota State. They'll start it up top.
Yeah, smart play by Logan Dopp on the D there. His attackman caught the ball. He got a hand on his shoulder and just shoved him across the midline. Perfectly legal and got the offside call.
North Dakota State working the ball around. Just about 2.5 minutes expired here in the first quarter. That's Flock behind the cage. He's got Mudrack on him. Talk about a size imbalance between Mudrack and Flock.
Yeah, Peter Flock was able to take advantage of his small size in the earlier game against Davenport with his change of direction that the defensemen just weren't able to keep up with. So it'll be interesting to see if Mudrack can keep up with Flock in this game.
Wroblewski's shot sails wide. It's backed up by North Dakota State. Flock has it. North Dakota State working the ball on offense. Alberts has it up top. Alberts with the shot. That's a nice save. Andrew Flood on the save for Kennesaw. Kennesaw comes the other way. They've got numbers out of the cage. Was Freeman. He's fortunate that shot went wide.
Yeah, Freeman was ranging out of the crease a little bit to cover up what he thought was an open attackman and left the cage open. He was lucky that that didn't get thrown in.
Supposed to be about 82 degrees here in St. Louis today. Unseasonably warm for this time of year. St. Louis generally hovering in the low to mid 60s about this time of year. We've had a lot of rain and electricity so far this weekend. Looks like we're going to be scot-free today, though.
And with the rain we've had, Dan, it is really warm down on the turf. The humidity level is very high, and it'll be interesting to see if that takes it out of the North Dakota kids having played already this morning.
So far, North Dakota State looking pretty fresh in spite of that early tilt they had this morning against Davenport, which faced off at 8 a.m. local time. Bison working the ball. Comes near side at the top to Wroblewski. Working from the top is Veldhuis. Left-hand cradle, feeds it inside. There's another nice save by Flood. Flood's gonna bring it out himself. He drops it, picks it back up. Looks to make the clear and has it.
Good hustle play by
into the zone. Freeman came out of his cage and just absolutely leveled the attackman, ready to field the ball. And now Freeman's going to get crushed as well.
Yeah, hopefully Freeman's going to go off for at least 30 seconds, Dan. That was a fairly blatant hit in the back, but it looks like...
yeah, Freeman staying on. Penalty's going to be on white 34. That's Taylor Carlberg.
That's sort of
I think that's the retaliation call.
Yeah, that's sort of interesting. The flag came out before he actually hit Freeman, so the timing on that was kind of interesting, Dan.
ESP for our officiating crew.
Certainly a possibility.
Shot sails wide. That one off the stick of Alberts from the far side wing. Kinzel has it. Near side, just dropping the ball was Veldhuis. Kennesaw's going to work the clear. Ball sails out of bounds. It'll be Bison ball on the restart. Still no score. In the first quarter of play, I'm Dan Matthews with Todd Walker. Peter Flock will start it up for the Bison. He drops a bounce shot. Over to Veldhuis. Don't forget to interact with us on Twitter, folks. Our handle on Twitter is @LaxTV, LAXX TV. Alberts on the far side. He's going to be bailed out by Kyle Sturgeon. Sturgeon gets it up top to Flock. To Veldhuis. Veldhuis has Kinzel. Flock. Again, ball dropped. That's Alberts. He's dropped two. This time it's Kennesaw who's going to come up with it.
Yeah, he just flat took his eye off that one, Dan. It was the ball was right on the stick. He actually had to move his stick in order to miss it.
Ball down on the turf. Picked up by Kennesaw. They'll start the offense. They had a clean dodge to the top if you'd wanted it. Right in front of the crease. Bad angle shot coming around, and Freeman knocks the stick out of the hands of Cody Clark, who was looking to put that one in from the angle.
Yeah, I'm not sure. A little fuzzy on Cody Clark's decision there, Dan. You were right. If he'd gone to the cage off that initial drive, all he had to do was duck inside. He had a wide open shot. He brought it around the far side of the crease, and with nobody backing him up on the other side, really kind of a foolish shot.
Miles Burge on the clear for North Dakota State. The Bison set their offense. Still no score. Just about midway through the first period of play. And folks, when I say that, I'm guessing. We have no stadium clock. Just try to use the guesstimation, if you will, of how much time's elapsed. We haven't had many stops. Flock has it near side, goal line extended. He's going to work it behind the cage. Again, he's marked up by Mudarak.
Triple teamed.
Flock loses the ball and is able to pick it up. That's one of the few balls not picked up by Mudarak when it hits the turf. Anthony Yorga ends up scooping it up for the Bison. I wonder how Flock feels going up against defenders of this size. He's got Justin Griffith on him now. Griffith at 6'1", 180 pounds. And the defenders really dwarfing the offense of North Dakota State. Yeah, we're going to have a Kennesaw penalty.
This is a good call, Dan. The defender saw the pick and basically just knocked the guy over coming past the pick. That's again, we got a choice of penalties here. Let's see which one he decides to go with. Looks like he's going to call a cross check.
There's a ball down and a flag down. We'll sort out this penalty and then head to break as Kennesaw State has called timeout. We've got a 1-minute penalty on the cross check. When we come back, North Dakota State will be man up. No score here in St. Louis. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
I have press.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV. Peter Flock up top as we start. After that timeout, still no score, 4:31 left to go in the first quarter. This is the third in our triple header of action here today in St. Louis. The St. Louis Invitational, created by Andy Jolly, head coach at Missouri Baptist University. We'll speak with him a little bit later on about this tournament and how he feels it went. Or it's not really a tournament, it's an invitational. These things are a lot of work, and Andy did a great job with it, and especially with the adversity he had to face the last couple of days.
You can't fool Mother Nature, folks, and you also can't control her, and we've had quite the time with rain and especially lightning this weekend.
Yeah, and just to know that it was completely and totally fair. It affected Andy's team as well, as they had a 17-hour weather delay in their game against Northern Colorado. There's a shot. That one sails wide off the side of the net. Kennesaw with possession. No score. Ball far side to Congleton. Definitely a slower pace to this game than there was in the first game. Can't run a man ball without another man.
No, it's difficult.
North Dakota State's Logan Dopp struggling to pick up the ground ball because he had no help from anybody else on the squad. Great audio from the field during this game, folks. Pay attention to it. It's never know what you're going to hear, and some good insight that comes from the field as far as what they're looking to do. You heard that timeout call, as did we. North Dakota State, or Kennesaw, is going to take this one. That's their second. They're out of timeouts here in the first half. They'll settle it in, and when we come back, we have no score in the first period of play. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic is elevating lacrosse when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. Call 303 Outlaws or log on to milehighLaxClassic.com.
Dan Matthews and Todd Walker back with you. The third and final game of our triple header here on this beautiful Sunday in St. Louis. About 80 degrees outside, and as Todd said, major humidity down on the field.
Yeah, it's really kind of oppressive, Dan. I went out there to talk to the Zebras before the game, and it is not comfortable.
North Dakota State with possession on the turnover by Kennesaw. Fraben on the clear. He kicks the ball to Wroblewski. Wroblewski's going to set the offense for North Dakota State.
Good look.
Nice cross-field feed. Unable to convert on the shot. Down low, who was that?
Kyle Sturgeon.
Was that Sturgeon?
And there's a golden opportunity gone begging, Dan. That's one. If Sturgeon had come to that ball a little bit and shot it overhand, that was a layup, and that's a bad mistake to miss that one.
Sturgeon to Flock. Flock's ball sails wide to the near side. Out of bounds, up and over the scoreboard. Just took the right kick at the right time for that one. North Dakota State will restart. Ball's up top. Wroblewski to Alberts to Veldhuis. Veldhuis near side has the hands free. Feeds the ball inside. Ball's picked off by Andrew Flood, the Kennesaw State goaltender. Still no score, under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Again, fundamentals there, Dan. Andy Kinzel wide open on the crease, but he had the stick in the wrong hand. He had it in his right hand, which even if he'd caught it, he would have had to bring the ball back and cross in front of his face in order to shoot it. If he'd been lefty there, it would have been a simple quick stick into the goal.
Bison were running a 10-man ride on that clear. Kennesaw able to convert the clear. Kennesaw running out of time on this clear. Ball's in the box, they've got to keep it in. That pot shot sails wide. Kennesaw State will restart. In the corner on the near side. That's Mudrak.
What a surprise.
Back to his goalie, Andrew Flood. That ball's going to go. Nope, it's not going to get out of bounds. Good play on the far side. 1 minute to go here in the first period. Still no score. Not sure I'd have expected that out of this one in the first period.
No, again, Dan, I think we're seeing the effects of the Bison playing a game already earlier today, and that's kind of evened things up.
Patrick Singer, number 21, coming back across the midfield stripe. Good effort on the clear for him. Ball went out of bounds. Kennesaw will have it on the restart. Kennesaw gets the ball across midfield. Still got plenty of time to get it in the box. Looks like he ran right through the corner of the box, did he not, Todd?
He did.
Errant pass, out of bounds.
Yeah, really seeing some loose stick work here, Dan. 2 consecutive plays. Each team has thrown one out of bounds with no pressure whatsoever.
Still in the first quarter. Time winding down on this opening quarter of play in the first of our triple header. The third of our triple header. That's the end of the first quarter of play. No score between Kennesaw State and North Dakota State. Todd, a slow first quarter of play.
Yeah, slow and not real pretty. Both teams making a lot of unforced errors. Kennesaw, I think, is just a little unsettled here. North Dakota State, I think we can blame it on being a little tight from having played just a couple hours ago. But hopefully we'll clean things up here in the second quarter.
I have no doubts about it. When we come back, we'll have the opening phase, or the face-off of the second quarter. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and television revenue has changed the face of sports. Change happens, that's life. As a fan, you can either take a seat at the end of the bench and trip, or strap on a jock and keep the chains moving. Buy a new jersey, throw a new poster on the wall, adapt, adjust, acclimate. It's what separates winners from whiners. You hear me, clones?
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores! Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky. We're underway in the second quarter. Kennesaw State wins the faceoff. There's a big shot and a bigger save by Freeman for North Dakota State. Ball out of bounds to Kennesaw. Great hustle by the Kennesaw State squad getting to that ball. It was either Clark or Congleton that got to it. Still no score. Very early in the second quarter. That's Congleton. Congleton pulls it back out. North Dakota State, we can't say it enough, played early today at 8 o'clock this morning after being rained out last night. Actually lightninged out. There's something about playing lacrosse with that 4-foot pole in your hand.
Congleton near side. Kicks it up top to Gavia. Gavia doesn't often stay on the field. That shot ripped from the side was Bradley Jones. Sailed behind the cage. And Cody Clark will restart for Kennesaw. That's Congleton near side. He's got the dump to the inside. Hands free, big save by Freeman. That's to the back. That's definitely going to send a Kennesaw player off the field.
He might actually even call that one to the head, Dan. That may be one of our 2-minute non-releasables. It depends on what he saw. Nope, going to give him the illegal body check for a minute.
Going to be North Dakota State ball.
And the Bison basically run a 3-3 out of their EMO and cut into a 1-4-1.
Let's go, man, down. 6 up, D, 6 up.
Still looking for our first goal here today. No score, second quarter of play. Dan Matthews and Todd Walker. With you from Centene Stadium, Gay Field. Maybe it should be Gay Field at Centene Stadium. I think that'll sound better. Turnover North Dakota State, it'll be Kennesaw ball.
Another careless pass, Dan, especially on extra man. You really don't want to give up an opportunity like that with that kind of play. You got no shots on cage, man up, and that'll make the coach pull his hair out.
Kennesaw's got the clear, out of bounds. It'll belong to Kennesaw. Kennesaw on the restart. Penalty released. Casey Newton comes back to the field for the Owls.
I'd like to give Kennesaw credit for killing the penalty, but it really was more of a case of North Dakota State throwing it away.
More laundry on the field. We're going to take Louis Clifton off the field for North Dakota State. 12 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Still no score. So we're 18 minutes without a goal.
Yeah, Louis Clifton will sit a minute for unnecessary roughness. Again, just a careless penalty off the ball. No reason for it, and you put your team man down.
Kennesaw works the ball. That's Congleton up top, number 13. Big shot, high and wide, and a big hit right after the shot. That shot laid by Dopp.
Dockery likes to take that high heat off that top wing.
Congleton gets inside. Great stick work by North Dakota State, not letting him get a good solid shot. Nice save, Freeman. That rocket shot came off the cross of Casey Newton. There's Congleton again. Inside to Clark. There's a shot and a goal. Kennesaw's on the board first. Casey Newton with the goal.
Yeah, I think Casey Newton kind of crossed Ryan Freeman up a little bit there, Dan. It looked like he dodged inside, and I think Freeman really thought he was going to feed the ball across the crease. Newton just pulled his stick back and shot it right past Ryan Freeman's stick. I think normally one he would make the save on. Yeah, you see Ryan Freeman really kind of reacted late to the shot. I don't think he was expecting Casey Newton to take that.
That ball's going to belong to North Dakota State. We got a flag down on the field.
And
We're gonna have a technical.
Foolish penalty by Gavia. He was called for withholding the ball because the ball didn't come out of his stick on the face-off, and rather than just get off and go the other way, he made a little comment to the official that the official took exception to.
Well, at some point you got to send the message.
Well, they put the conduct foul penalty in the rule book 8 or 10 years ago, Dan, for just that reason. You want to be able to make a call that penalizes the offending team, but not necessarily an unsportsmanlike that's going to put them down for a minute.
Flock looking inside. Physical play going on top of the crease. He was looking for Veldhuis. Veldhuis got knocked over just as the pass was coming. Kennesaw gets the clear on a risky pass, nearly 3/4 of the length of the field. We've got a chase. It's going to remain Kennesaw ball.
Lax TV brought to you in part by Lax Lessons. Stay tuned after the game for the Lax Lessons Play of the Game. Play of the Game brought to you by Lax Lessons, your source for the ultimate playbook.
Kennesaw working one-on-one. That's Matthews. His shot doesn't get through. We've got a loose ball. There's a shot.
Pinged it off the pipe.
White ball out of bounds on the far side of the field. Ten minutes left in this first half. Dan Matthews, Todd Walker. At Gay Field at Centene Stadium. Kennesaw with a 1-0 edge on North Dakota State. Ball down and scooped up by Dockery. He's got it again near side, has his man beat. Slide comes, nice save by Freeman. Freeman early on the candidate for player of the game. Win or lose right this second. So right now he's single-handedly keeping his team in this game. Interesting that we've seen 2 timeouts by Kennesaw already, yet assistant head coach Cameron Peterson yet to do anything to try to settle his squad into some kind of a rhythm.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a tactical error there by Coach Grisanti too, Dan. You know, as hot and humid as it is, I would have wanted to save one of those timeouts here for the second quarter, give my guys a rest.
Kennesaw working the ball around. That cutter's Anthony Winters coming near side. Loose ball. Kennesaw picks it up. They'll reset their offense. They'll do so up top. That's Greenow. Greenow's got his man beat, has the feet inside, unable to control it was Kennesaw. Backed up nicely. And into the cross of Casey Newton now. Newton stopped by Ryan Freeman.
Hey, your goalie wants this. Help him out. Go.
NDSU has the ball on the clear. That's Ross Gunderson on the far side. Ball out of bounds. Cameron Peterson not a happy camper right now.
Lax TV also brought to you in part by Lacrosse Talk, North America's first and most comprehensive show dedicated to lacrosse. You can catch us every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern at lacrossetalkradio.com. Dan and I are your hosts, and tonight we'll be running a best of edition featuring our Crooked Arrows segment. We'll be on the road headed back to Colorado.
Shot, another save by Freeman. Freeman's got the alley coming up the left side for the clear. His pass goes errant. Picked up by Kennesaw. Freeman's got to hustle back between the pipes. Andrew Flood will start the clear for Kennesaw. Pass is going to sail out of bounds back to North Dakota State.
Really very sloppy play, Dan, by both teams. They seem to be competing to see who can have the most unforced turnovers.
You would think that this was the 8 o'clock game.
Really not looking good at this point. A lot of errant passes, a lot of trying to force the ball into the middle by both teams.
A lot of chatter on the sidelines to listen into. NDSU gets the clear at Sturgeon. Behind the cage goes Kinsel. Timeout, North Dakota State. We're going to keep it right here and let you listen in on the two huddles. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV. Kennesaw State holding on to a 1-0 lead.
Welcome back to Gay Field at Centene Stadium here in Clayton, Missouri, just outside St. Louis, where we've got a nice game going between Kennesaw State and North Dakota State. Kennesaw State out of the state of Georgia. North Dakota State, I'm going to let you guess where they're based. You're watching Lax TV, based in part by In Lax We Trust. Listen to the best NCAA D3 lacrosse action on the Lacrosse Radio Network, the home of live lacrosse audio via InLaxWeTrust.com.
Hey, we are Denver Pepper! Denver Pepper! Denver Pepper!
I heard something about our home city, Todd. Denver. Denver Pepper. We'll see what this one's all about. Two behind the cage. Four up front, nice stack, but the feed doesn't quite get through to Sturgeon. Instead, it sails high, out of bounds. It'll be Kennesaw ball. 1-0 our score, just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. The extra game, Todd, the great equalizer.
Indeed. I think the North Dakota boys were not expecting, I shouldn't say that, we're hoping for not quite so tight a game, but a lot of it's been due to their own play rather than anything Kennesaw State's doing.
Kennesaw working the clear. That's Greenow. Kennesaw working the ball around. Patience by Kennesaw. Newton up top, left hand. Seen all the way by Freeman. Freeman will initiate the clear for NDSU.
Yeah, no screen, just a shot from pretty far out, and Freeman saw that all the way, and he'll eat all those up.
Ball down. I think these are places they'd all like to visit, Todd. Ohio, Denver.
Well, if it comes to when it comes to lightning, at least any of those places would be better than St. Louis has been this weekend.
That's Flock. Flock had a cutter, but there was no way he was going to get the ball across the crease to Kinzel. We've got a timeout. North Dakota State as we head to break. Let's take a look at that Kennesaw State goal. They lead 1-0 here in St. Louis.
It's a game of hits, swagger, precision,
to keep their hopes alive here.
and grit.
With a flag.
Lacrosse, spring's toughest sport.
Whistler shot, he scores. Fires, score. What a beautiful pass. Charges in, scores.
Don't miss Lehigh take on Navy. Friday at 7. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and television revenue has changed the face of sports. Change happens, that's life. As a fan, you can either take a seat at the end of the bench and trip, or strap on a jock and keep the chains moving. Buy a new jersey, throw a new poster on the wall, adapt, adjust, acclimate. It's what separates winners from whiners. You hear me, clones?
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Dan Matthews and Todd Walker with you here at Gay Field at Centene Stadium in Clayton, Missouri. 1-0 Kennesaw State with the lead in the third and final game of our triple header. Like we said earlier, Todd, we will have completed more lacrosse before noon on the West Coast than most teams will ever play in a day.
Yeah, they're just barely waking up to their scones and tea at this point on the West Coast, so we're well ahead of the West Coast time.
Sloppy play again by NDSU. Sturgeon drops the ball. Solid clear for Kennesaw. Ball at Congleton, left-hand cradle.
It's an enthusiastic bunch over there on the Kennesaw.
Really on both sides. There's a shot. That ball sails wide. Freeman got a little piece of it on the way through.
And yeah, you called it, Dan. Another just sloppy play behind the cage by the Bison. No pressure. Basically, just dropped the ball. They are looking right now like they played a game 2 hours ago.
North Dakota State on the clear. That's Clifton who drops the ball again for the Bison. They'll maintain possession. Far side is Veldhuis. Veldhuis has Max Foley coming on. He'll give it off to him. Foley will kick it up top to Alberts. Alberts from Woodbury, Minnesota. Looks to drive the right alley and gets forced back by the Kennesaw long pole. That was Kyle Teasdale. Alberts with it. Flock working the ball around the cage. He's matched up by Mudrak. He gets his hands free. Shot is saved by Flood.
Yeah, not really able to get much on that shot, Dan. Mudrak actually recovered pretty well and got his stick on Flock's hands and really prevented him from getting anything on the shot.
It was good man ball work except for
no ball.
The ball work didn't get picked up. It was a good job by the man who was coming on, and I think that was Kinzel, but unable to pick it up was Ross Gunderson for North Dakota State. The Bison will set their offense. There's a hard shot saved by Flood from the far side. Bison getting a little impatient now.
Yeah, said it a bunch of times today, but really just too far out for that shot to have a real great chance of getting past the goalie.
Into the triple team goes Mazer and loses the ball. Go figure.
We've got an interference call on the when the goalie had the ball in the crease, which is a free clear for North Dakota State.
Ball down. It's simple pass and catch, guys.
It was a good look into Tyler Williams, and if he let it go right away when he caught it, he had a pretty good chance, but held on it too long and then lost it on the check.
Just about 1 minute left to go. Nice move to the inside. Shot. Big save. Wow. Freeman pushing the ball inside.
Wow.
Again, single-handedly keeping his team in this game. It's 1-0, less than a minute to go. That ball's plucked right out of the stick. Nice play by Dockery.
And Kennesaw, again, has no timeouts, or they would use one here.
Got a hold on Kennesaw. That's going to go against 19, Jackson Scott for Kennesaw.
Yeah, hate to keep beating the dead fish here, Dan, but careless penalty by Jackson Scott. His team actually had the ball in a nice unsettled situation. Good chance to go to the cage, and he grabbed the defenseman's stick and threw it, which the referee's not going to let you get away with that. At least I never got away with that.
Not at all. Something under a minute to go. North Dakota State with the ball, trailing by 1. Todd, I don't remember the last time I watched a half of lacrosse that only one goal was scored.
It's been a while.
That's the end of the half. Your score, 1-0. Kennesaw State over North Dakota State. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV.
Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores! Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
Hi, I'm Dave Wakefield, head coach of Northern Colorado, and you're watching Lax TV.
CBS Sports Network has the greatest lacrosse players in the world. The stars of the indoor game in the NLL. And the best field lacrosse athletes in the MLL.
The long wind-up and shot from a long pole barrel, and he scores.
The NLL premieres April 7th. And the MLL, coming in June. CBS Sports Network, the new home of professional lacrosse.
Welcome back to St. Louis, everybody. 1-0, our score in favor of Kennesaw State, leading North Dakota State. And Todd, an interesting first half.
The only word that leaps to mind to accurately describe it, Dan, is sloppy. Neither team has been able to hold on to the ball in this first half of play, and boy, I sure hope they clean things up in the second half, or it's going to be a long 30 minutes.
Can't say enough about the play, though, of North Dakota State goalie Ryan Freeman.
Yeah, he has stoned the Kennesaw State shooters on 3 or 4 occasions, and he is the reason it's only a 1-0 game.
Score is 1-0. Kennesaw State in the lead against North Dakota State. Your Coach Anthony Grisanti, you've got to be happy with the play of Kennesaw State and the fact that they're taking a lead and hanging on to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can credit his own troops with too much of that. Although they've played okay defensively. It's just that North Dakota State has turned the ball over so many times with no pressure that the Owls are really benefiting from the sloppy play of North Dakota State.
Absolutely. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll summarize the first half of play with highlights, or the lone highlight of that Kennesaw State goal. We'll be back right after this.
Game of hits. Swagger. Precision.
To keep their hopes alive here.
And grit.
With a flag.
Lacrosse, spring's toughest sport.
Whistler shot, he scores. Fires, scores. What a beautiful pass. Charges in, scores.
Don't miss Lehigh take on Navy. Friday at 7. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and television revenue has changed the face of sports. Change happens, that's life. As a fan, you can either take a seat at the end of the bench and trip, or strap on a jock and keep the chains moving. Buy a new jersey, throw a new poster on the wall, adapt, adjust, acclimate. It's what separates winners from whiners. You hear me, clones?
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores! Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky.
Welcome back to St. Louis, folks. We're here at Gay Field at Centene Stadium in Clayton, Missouri. We're at halftime. It's a blazing 1-0 game. Kennesaw State leading North Dakota State Bison. Dan, that first half, not much defensively. Ryan Freeman has been spectacular, and facing several shots very close. Freeman has managed to stonewall the Kennesaw State Owl shooters for the most part, and that accounts for the low score, at least on North Dakota State's side. Offensively, it's a highlight reel with far in this game. And North Dakota State controls the opening face-off. And off we go.
Far side. Up top to Wroblewski. Back to the far side. That's Yorga.
Folks, you're watching MCLA Lacrosse live on Lax TV. Changing the way you follow lacrosse.
This a Division II matchup between number 22 Kennesaw State and number 10, I believe, North Dakota State. North Dakota State turns the ball over again. Kennesaw's going to chase it down. Still a loose ball. Nobody really seems to want it, but North Dakota State will ultimately come up with the ball. That was long pole Patrick Singer. We're in the third quarter, 1-0 Kennesaw State leading this one. Over the Bison. Kinzel with it. Kicks it up top to Yorga. Yorga far side to Sturgeon. Up top, that's Ryan Weiss. We haven't had the opportunity to call his number much so far today. Looks like Coach Cameron Peterson trying to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, Dan, I think Cameron's trying to get some fresh legs and maybe some fresh sticks in to try and get a little bit better ball control among his troops.
There's a shot. That one sails wide. Sturgeon backs it up. North Dakota State still with the ball, trailing by 1. That sails far side. North Dakota State still looking to get on the board after playing 30-plus minutes of scoreless lacrosse. I'm sure head coach Zach Bosch is back home in Fargo watching this one, pulling his hair out.
Yeah, the Bison looked terrific this morning against Davenport. Moved the ball well, handled the ball well, and kind of a 180 shift here this afternoon.
This is one of those games that if you're the Bison, you just want the W at this point. You don't even care how it comes.
I'm not sure how he didn't get a trip call on that play, Dan.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Another nice save by Ryan Freeman. Oh, you can't recover in time to get that one, though. Kennesaw opens up a 2-goal lead. See if we can get a look at that one.
Yeah, Freeman made the initial save, Dan, and kind of lost track of the rebound. It came across the other side of the crease, and I don't think he was really back in his cage and set ready to face the shot.
So Kennesaw State up 2 here in the third period. About 3 minutes into this third period. And the old Owls double their lead.
More of the same in the second half here, Dan. Unfortunately, again, Kennesaw trying to force the ball into the middle where the teammate wasn't really open, and that ball goes the other way.
NDSU can have numbers. That's Veldhuis. We've got a turnover.
Yeah,
give it back to Kennesaw State.
Same thing we saw earlier today. The NDSU attackman just kind of wandered across the midfield stripe and got the offside call.
Feed to the inside. That shot sails high. Off the cross of Anthony Winters.
There's one Winters would like to have back and ratchet that one down about 6 inches.
Max Foley broke his cross. He's heading to the bag to find another.
And an excellent example of why you got to have a backup stick that you can pull out of the bag and play with right away, because a broken stick in the course of a game is not an uncommon thing.
North Dakota State gets the ball on the turnover, moves it into the offensive zone. That's Ben Alberts with it for the Bison. They trail 2-0. Something under 10 minutes to go. Should have a hold here. After some pleading by Ben Alberts. 10.5 minutes, I'm told.
And Cole McMean gets a 30-second hold. Coach Gravanti is the case that he's pleading is that the attackman pinned the defenseman's stick under his arm, and I'm not prepared to say that he's not correct.
But are you prepared to say that he is correct?
I'm not at all sure what that call was. I don't know if
I missed something.
I think one of the North Dakota State attackmen dipped his toes in the crease.
The long clearing pass.
Another ill-advised long pass from Andrew Flood. They're still trying to force the ball upfield when they could take the easier, shorter pass and make the nice, easy clear.
Sails out of bounds. We have finally reached noon on the West Coast. This is the third of a triple header here today in St. Louis to wrap up the St. Louis Invitational. Stay tuned during the fourth quarter when we'll talk to Invitational mastermind Andy Jolly about this year's St. Louis Invitational. North Dakota State with the ball, trailing by 2. Trailing by the only 2 goals we've seen today. Alberts, nice slide by Teasdale. Pick up Alberts on the dodge, forcing him all the way to the far corner. Alberts comes back. Pass intended for Kyle Sturgeon. Goes low and bounces underneath Sturgeon's stick, out of bounds. Successful clear for Kennesaw. It's Tyler Matthews. Gets the ball behind the cage to Cody Clark. Carlberg up top. Kennesaw working the ball around, leading 2-0.
Hey, get it to Tyler! Get it to Tyler!
Kennesaw taking the air out of the ball. Scott Dockery. That's another goal for Kennesaw. Nice rip, beating Freeman. This one from Tyler Matthews.
Yeah, kind of the proverbial slow bouncer there, Dan. I think Ryan Freeman got caught on his goal line a little bit. Did not attack that bounce shot, which you really need to do in order to minimize the height that the ball comes off the turf. Just kind of hung back on it. Ball bounced up in that upper right corner, and kind of a cheap one for Kennesaw, but I'm pretty sure they'll take that one just the same.
3-0 our score. Kennesaw State leading North Dakota State. Kennesaw was expecting to play a 10:30 game today. They got changed last night after all the weather delays. Ended up playing here at 1 o'clock. Both these teams have fairly substantial bus rides back home after this one is over.
We sympathize.
Clear for North Dakota State. I think that was Connor Scott on the clear for NDSU. David Mills coming in from the sidelines. 3-0 our score. The Owls from Kennesaw State leading the Bison from North Dakota State. Still amazed that North Dakota State's not been able to generate any offense yet. Very few shots even.
No, they just, to this point, Dan, they haven't been able to handle the ball long enough to generate any shots. They get it working around the horn, and somebody will make a bad pass, or somebody will just flat miss one, and it rolls out of bounds and goes over to Kennesaw. So tough to get any shots when you're not holding the ball.
Oh, so true, Mr. Walker. If we don't watch out, Freeman's going to decide he needs to do it all himself, and he's going to take the ball to the cage.
He might have to.
Rumor has it he darn near scored in the Northern Colorado game a couple days ago. That's Alberts.
Good luck.
Alberts with the feed to the inside. Unable to get the hands free was Veldhuis. The ball pops up. We've got a scrum for it in front of the cage. Gonna have whistles. Andrew Flood gets himself out of there. Flood, only 5'8", 170 pounds, from Pope High School in Georgia. Didn't want anything to do with that scrum.
No, well, initially, Dan, he saw the ball was down there for about 5 seconds, and Andrew Flood just kind of dove into the pile in an effort to move the ND State players off the ball.
There's Alberts off the pipe. Flood's best friend right now. Kennesaw chases it down. Substitutions and the restart coming. Dan Matthews and Todd Walker here with you in the final game of the 2012 St. Louis Invitational. Kennesaw gets the clear. That's DeKaiser. DeKaiser's going to take it behind the cage. Pass it far side. That's Clark coming near side. He gives it up to Dockery on the wing. Coming from up top is Gavia. He lets one rip and gets it past Andrew Freeman. As good as Freeman was in the first half, he's not seeing the ball now in the second half.
No, that was another one I would have expected Ryan to make the save on. And Gavia really is, before this game, has been pretty much of a fogo. He'll take the face off and get off the field, and I don't think anybody really considered him a huge offensive threat. But he took it, rolled back into the middle of the field, and took a decent hard shot. But one I would have expected Freeman to make the save on.
That's his first goal of the season. He's a transfer from NCAA Division II squad, Mars Hill. We've got 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. 4-0 Kennesaw. They're on a 3-goal run here in this period. 4-goal run overall, as indicated by the score. Flock can't get it off. Flood looks to clear.
Nice job.
Great patience by Flood.
Yeah, nice job to come out of that pile with the ball. He's in trouble here though. If the Bison can move the ball.
There's a shot that sails wide. So right now you got to say player of the game might be that 8 o'clock game that North Dakota State had to play.
Yeah, you might be right, Dan. And there again, Andy Kinzel just turns on the restart and fires it about 3 yards over the head of his midfielder, directly out of bounds.
Yeah, I noticed that North Dakota hung around between games, Todd, out in the sun. Some of them were out in the sun. Some of them might have been up in the bus. But you know, overall as a whole, it's got to take a toll just to sit out here for that time in between games.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many of them stayed outside, Dan, but I would have had my guys get inside somewhere, whether it was in the bus or someplace, at least in the shade, where they're not cooking. And we got Rory Keown was called for a trip. Kennesaw State will be man down for a minute.
North Dakota State on offense. Flock's going to start right in front of the Kennesaw bench.
And this is a huge possession for the Bison. They really need a goal here badly.
There's a rip. That one sails high, out of bounds. Backed up by Sturgeon and Veldhuis. Feed up top to Flock. North Dakota State working the ball, looking for a good shot. Another one that sails high. That's Foley. Maybe the third time will be the charm.
Nice slide over there by Kyle Teasdale to get a stick on stick to disrupt that shot.
Flock shoots, Flood saves.
I think Andrew Flood has seen that low-to-low shot by Flock a couple times and knows that's where he's going. Didn't have much trouble making that save.
Winding down the third period of play. Kennesaw State 4, North Dakota State. No, that's the release. I'm sorry. It's the countdown on the release of the penalty. Not far behind will be the period. .90 seconds left in the third. Alberts to Foley. He finally puts one in the back of the cage. NDSU on the board.
Yeah, that's what the Bison have been looking for. More like what they were doing this morning. Foley just makes a little C cut off the crease, up high, pops up, gets enough separation from his D-man, makes the catch and a quick shot that Andrew Flood had no chance on.
Four to 1. North Dakota State finally on the board. This is another one of those games that's probably far from over, Todd.
sort of expecting the Bison to wake up at any time here, Dan, and start putting a run together.
Bison pick up the loose ball. One minute to go in the first half.
Great ride. Yeah, they're in danger of running out of time here.
They need to get the clear and get it in a hurry. Into the box goes Singer.
I'm guessing he had 2 seconds to spare there, Dan.
That's about it. North Dakota State calls timeout, trailing by 3 at the end of the third quarter. We'll be back for the end of the third quarter, the last 30 seconds or so, right after this.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
Back at Gay Field at Centene Stadium in Clayton, Missouri, suburb of St. Louis. This is the final game of the St. Louis Invitational. I'm Dan Matthews with Todd Walker. Our current score, Kennesaw State 4, North Dakota State 1. Got 33 seconds left in the third quarter. Veldhuis has the ball for North Dakota State on the near side. He kicks it up top to Alberts. Alberts is going to set the offense. Probably look to dodge from the top.
Typically, they'll dodge down the alley and look for that backside guy rolling off the crease.
Inside to Foley, who scores. That's 2 late in the third quarter, and NDSU's right back in it.
A lot like that, Dan. Drive the alley, kick it down to the wing guy, and the backside crease guy curls up for a feed. Just exactly what they drew up in that timeout. It worked perfectly.
27.
Still 20 seconds to go here in the third quarter. There's time for another one. This face-off won by Gavia. He gives it to Clark. Under 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. 4-2 KSU over NDSU. That's the end of the third quarter. 4-2 is our score. You're watching MCLA Lacrosse on Lax TV. I don't have to say it's on there.
Hits, swagger, precision,
to keep their hopes alive here.
and grit.
With a flag.
Lacrosse, spring's toughest sport.
Whistler shot, he scores. Fires, scores. What a beautiful pass. Charges in, scores.
Don't miss Lehigh take on Navy. Friday at 7. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and television revenue has changed the face of sports. Change happens, that's life. As a fan, you can either take a seat at the end of the bench and trip, or strap on a jock and keep the chains moving. Buy a new jersey, throw a new poster on the wall, adapt, adjust, acclimate. It's what separates winners from whiners. You hear me, clones?
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd. Only on CBS Sports Network.
Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores! Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky.
We're ready for the fourth frame. In St. Louis, Missouri, North Dakota State gets on the board with 2 late in the third quarter, and they cut the deficit in half. The Kennesaw State held. North Dakota State wins the face-off in the fourth quarter. We're just under 15 minutes away from one of these teams having a real long bus ride home, and the other not so long.
You're watching live MCLA Division II action on Lax TV. Changing the way you follow lacrosse.
Folks, there are more games on our schedule, but we still need the funding to make it happen. Click on the donate button in the top right-hand corner of your screen and make your contribution to make sure we keep Lax on the air all the time. Dan Matthews and Todd Walker with you. We'll be joined shortly by Andy Jolly, head coach from Missouri Baptist, who coordinated this whole darn thing and was still coordinating at 7 o'clock last night. Kennesaw with the ball in the offensive zone. That's Cody Clark. Ball swings around up top. I believe that's Congleton. It is. He drops it on his way to the cage. It's scooped up by Singer. Singer, just a freshman, doing an outstanding job for North Dakota State. There's Flock. Flock shoots. Big save by Flood.
Great save by Andy
Flood darn near dropped the ball back into his own net, though. Kennesaw on the clear.
Oh my.
Ball down. As Scott Dockery came through the top. Going to the cage is Louis Clifton. He pulls it back out and gives it to Sturgeon. The Bison will substitute.
Yeah, we talk about making that one extra step coming around the cage before you shoot, Dan, and that time Dockery took about too many extra steps. If he'd let that ball go a little earlier, I think he would have had a goal.
4-2 our score. Kennesaw State doubling up North Dakota State right now. North Dakota State with the ball and momentum. Yorga up top. Beats his man, feeds inside. That's Wroblewski. Wroblewski doesn't get a good shot off at all. We're offsides. It's a nice try and a nice thought by Scott Wheeler.
Yeah, you got to know where you are, though, Dan. And Wheeler should have known that he couldn't run across to pick up that ball. He had to wait for it.
North Dakota State gets the turnover, heads into the offensive zone. To the cage, shoot off the side of the net. Lots of excitement for nothing on the North Dakota State bench. That's one of the tough ones with lacrosse, even hockey. You see that net moving, and there's an automatic assumption that it moved from the inside of the cage.
Yeah, great clear by Singer, and a nice job to just go ahead and take it in and shoot it. Sometimes it's tough to be accurate with a long pole. Plus, he kind of short-armed it a little bit, trying to place it too much and put it on the outside of the net.
Dodging from the top was Alberts. His ball sailed just to the side of the cage. NDSU going back to Denver.
North Dakota State doesn't run any plays per se, Dan, but they like to force the ball down one alley or the other, and then look to the backside with try and catch the opposing team ball watching and curling somebody around on the backside.
That must have been Kennesaw heading to Denver then, huh?
Yeah, and they worked like a peach this morning, but Kennesaw is doing a better job of not getting caught watching.
Ball up top, comes near side. That's Foley. Foley drops it.
Good D.
Squirts free. NDSU will go man up next time the ball goes down. And there it is.
Yeah, Richard Greeno with the slash kind of caught Peter Flock in the mush as he was going around him.
1 minute.
I know we're still early, Todd. But I'd say right now it may look like we could be interviewing head coach Anthony Grisanti, and I'd still give my player of the game to Ryan Freeman in spite of the victory or the lead being in Kennesaw State's hands right now.
Yeah, he's certainly been the stand-up player of the game to this point, and we'll see if somebody else can step up here in the last few minutes of the game.
Bison working offensively. Wroblewski can't hang on to the pass. Came a little high and hot from Alex Veldhuis across the field. Kennesaw will take over.
Story of the game there, Dan. Another errant pass by the Bison, giving the ball back to the Owls to clear. And NDSU is in a bit of a 10-man ride here, Dan. So we'll see what happens with this.
Mudrak's going to work on the clear. He drops the ball. Mudrak can't scoop it up. Flock will. And Sturgeon will pick it up and hold it so they can set the offense.
And can't really say that the 10-man ride worked. It's just that Mudrak dropped the ball coming across midfield.
Kennesaw's going to go man down again.
And again, I think we've got an illegal substitution.
So Kennesaw will go man down. North Dakota State will sub in. Foley, Veldhuis, and Alberts coming on for the Bison.
Yeah, I think you probably heard Coach Anthony Grisanti berating his troops. He had one man come off and 2 men go on, and he ended up with too many guys on the field.
Two-goal deficit that North Dakota State's looking to cut in half. We've got a timeout on the field with your score. Kennesaw State 4, North Dakota State 2. You're watching MCLA Division II Lacrosse on Lax TV.
Players change teams, teams change cities, and television revenue has changed the face of sports. Change happens, that's life. As a fan, you can either take a seat at the end of the bench and trip, or strap on a jock and keep the chains moving. Buy a new jersey, throw a new poster on the wall, adapt, adjust, acclimate. It's what separates winners from whiners. You hear me, clones?
Sports, news, smack, Rome. Weeknights at 6 starting Tuesday, April 3rd. Only on CBS Sports Network.
We're back at Gay Field at Centene Stadium. Dan Matthews and Todd Walker. And Andy Jolly joins us now. And Andy, have you settled down at all yet?
I'm starting to.
Slowly
I'm starting to
but surely?
adjust now. As we approach 3 o'clock, and this is the last game of the day, and I should be able to rest up tonight and then prepare for Davenport tomorrow. And then I'll have a nice day off.
You'll be done. You do have one more game of this Invitational, and that's your game against Davenport tomorrow. Andy, after everything you've faced through this Invitational, will you do it again next year?
That's a really good question. I'm sure I have a feeling that we'll have some interest from these teams, and I think as of today, I'd be interested in doing it again for sure. Time will tell. That feels like an eternity away, thinking about next season already, 2013, when I'm not even halfway through our own 2012 campaign. But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was very rewarding because we've had some great lacrosse, and we're really going to shake up the polls in just one weekend come Tuesday.
The polls are definitely going to undergo a shakeup. We'll have a new number one. Kennesaw making their bid to move into the top 15 probably.
Yeah.
And nothing but good comments from the other coaches that we've heard, Andy. Everybody's just been impressed, and they love the competition that they've gotten here. The matchups have been really good, and if not for the weather, it would have been, I think, a perfect weekend.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of weather. When it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it's been really awful.
Ben Albert shot sells way off course and way out of play. And North Dakota State will take over on the backup. Andy, when you look at the big picture of this whole event, what was the most rewarding part of it for you?
The most rewarding part, I don't know. Each game has brought something really nice to watch. Ooh, wow!
What a shot!
What a snipe!
Low to high on the far corner, and we've got a one-goal game.
You had Davenport getting upset in overtime after they came back. You got this game right here. North Dakota starting to come back to life. It's only down by 1, and the game at 8 a.m. rescheduled. They were good sports about it, and we saw North Dakota beat Davenport again 2 years in a row. And the biggest influence on the polls. That's going to be really exciting to see as well. So it was fun to see a lot of people online talking about how this weekend was the one they were waiting for, to see what the polls were going to look like, see how teams shook out. So it's been a lot of fun.
Andy, what'd you learn about your Missouri Baptist squad so far this weekend?
Jeez, what did we learn? You know, I think ultimately we learned that we're just not where we want to be as a team right now. We still make a lot of bad decisions throughout the game, make a lot of mental errors, and we still have a lot of work to do before postseason comes around. And that's for the most part it. I think we have all the tools it takes to be competitive, but you know, it's up to the players right now. When you get out there, you can't have 10+ blown clears when you're playing the #2 team in the country.
Well, for what it's worth, Andy, we sure hope that we're back here again next year doing the second annual St. Louis Invitational.
Got numbers here. Oof.
Solid defensive play by Rory Keown prevents North Dakota State from getting a transition goal. And Kennesaw still holds on to a 1-goal lead.
Peter Flock really kind of tried to do a little bit too much there, Danny. He managed to pick up the loose ball and control it, and rather than just kind of run it out into space and look for the open guy, he tried to make the Olympic pass to one of his teammates and unable to complete the backhand pass.
About 6 minutes to play here in St. Louis. This is the final of a triple header on this Sunday morning and early afternoon in St. Louis.
Good luck.
Look for a transition goal, and they've got it. That one scored by Anthony Winters, his second of the game. It's 5-3 in favor of Kennesaw State now.
That's a huge goal right there, Dan. Kind of a definite momentum killer for NDSU and swinging the pendulum back towards Kennesaw.
Well, like I said, Andy, we sure hope that we'll be back here next year doing another invitational, and that you'll get the same level of competition to come back to St. Louis.
Yeah, it's you can't. It's an easy city to travel to for all these teams. It was almost equidistant all the way around, and with how nice it was this year, I think a lot of people will be interested. And I could say right now that we'd love to have them again.
Fantastic, Andy. Thanks for having us, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's Andy Jolly, head coach at Missouri Baptist University and coordinator of the 2012 St. Louis Invitational. We've got a 2-goal game here on the goal by Winters for Kennesaw State. 5-3 your score, Owls lead. There's a nice move. That one's put into the far post. Taylor Carlberg for Kennesaw.
Just an awesome shot by Taylor Carlberg, driving it down the alley. Goes opposite stick side, right on the pipe. Absolutely nothing Freeman could do. That was a great shot, good hard shot, off stick side, hip high. In my opinion, the toughest place for a goalie to make a save.
So Winters and Carlberg stop the 3-goal run by North Dakota State. It's 6-3 Kennesaw. And the sun slowly starting to go down on North Dakota State. Hands free, ball sails wide. Sturgeon has it near side, gives it up to Alberts. Way up top to Veldhuis. We've got something short of 4 minutes to go, would be my guess.
Nice save.
Big save by Andrew Flood. Starting to do a reversal, Todd. I'm thinking that could be Andrew Flood, who lets that one go by off the stick of Veldhuis.
Yeah, nothing he could do there, Dan. Veldhuis, nice roll dodge from the left alley back into the center of the field, and just took the good hard left-handed shot from about 9 yards, and nothing Andrew Flood could do about that.
Well, it took well over 15 minutes before we had our first, but we've had a flurry of goals here in the second half. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. We've had 4 goals here in the fourth quarter. 2 for each squad, and it's a 2-goal game.
I'm not sure I agree with that call, Dan. That's the second face-off that Gavia's had illegal procedure called against him for the ball being in his stick, but he popped it out immediately in both instances. The ball wasn't really caught in the stick, so you're supposed to give the player one flip, if you will, to get the ball up out of the back of the stick, and that's what Gavia did in both instances.
That shot sails wide, backed up by Sturgeon. Sturgeon has it for NDSU. That one saved off the leg of Andrew Flood. He picks it up, starts the clear. Kennesaw in transition. Dropped the ball, but it bounced right back up into Jackson Scott's stick. Kennesaw with the ball and a 2-goal lead.
Oh my.
That pass sails high and out of bounds. Scott Dockery with the errant pass. Bison ball.
I was kind of hoping we'd gotten rid of that kind of stuff in the first half, Dan, but just another pass thrown straight out of bounds.
Turnabout's fair play, but NDSU will come up with this one. Kinzel.
Good look.
Had his man pass across the crease, was deflected, and immediately scooped up by Mudrak. I want to thank our presenting sponsors, Bam Shaft, the original bamboo lacrosse shaft, and Inside Lacrosse, the source for the sport. We've got a timeout on the field, North Dakota State. 6-4 is your score with under 4 minutes to play. 3 minutes and 22 seconds to be exact. We'll be back after this break. Back in St. Louis, everybody, for the final 3 minutes and 22 seconds of this hotly contested game between Kennesaw State and North Dakota State. Kennesaw holding on to a 2-goal lead. North Dakota has the ball, looking to cut the deficit in half. I'm Dan Matthews with Todd Walker. It's been a pleasure to be with you so far this season on Lax TV. Again, we have games scheduled that we'd like to do. We just need your support in developing the funding to do these games, Todd.
Absolutely, and remember, you can also tweet us. We're on Twitter at LaxTV. LAXXTV is our handle. We'd love to hear from you and get your comments. Kudos and negatives alike. If you find something we're doing that you don't like, we'll try and fix that too.
Pass high, saved and scooped by Andy Kinzel behind the cage. He's got a feed up top. That was, he'd been able to field it cleanly, he would have had a nice clean shot. Another one up top to Foley. Foley dumps it off to Alberts, back up top to Foley. 2.5 minutes to go. North Dakota State needs to get this first one so that they can position to play for the tie. That's Alberts, near side. Pass across to Flock. Down low, triple teamed was Veldhuis. Bad angle shot by Alberts. Didn't step out quite enough to take that shot.
No, he was only about 4 lines above goal line extended, about 12 yards out. Not nearly enough angle to make that a good shot.
2:05 in the fourth. Unable to field the pass cleanly was Foley. It gets through to Sturgeon. Another drop pass. This one Flock. Going to go out of bounds off Kennesaw, remain North Dakota State ball. Bison luck out on that one. Sturgeon has it. He gives it to Flock. Flock shoots. Ball sails wide. It was a nice shot.
Yeah, again, though, same old, Dan. Flock kind of, he dropped down about 3/4 arm, but still the low-to-low shot that Andrew Flood's kind of looking for.
Flood makes the save on that one. Less than 1:40 to go. Clear picked up by Rory Keown. Ball still down on the turf. Nobody wants to pick this ball up. It's just wheel it around. It's like playing walk the dog with a yo-yo.
Well, you might as well kick it to Kansas City and then pick it up, Dan.
It'll be North Dakota State ball after all that. So long as Veldhuis can pick it up and restart. A minute and 2 seconds left in this one. NDSU needs 2 to tie. That's Flock. Flock's shot sails wide.
Remember, this game brought to you in part by Lax Lessons. Stay tuned after the game for Lax Lessons Play of the Game, brought to you by Lax Lessons, your source for the ultimate playbook.
Shot from Alberts from the near side wing, just sails barely over the pipe. There's another shot. That one stopped by Flood. Kennesaw comes out with it. Quadruple teamed.
Wow.
Gets out of it. Player down on the ground is a North Dakota player. Not what you'd have expected. Jackson Scott. Big pass downfield. Intercepted. 10 seconds left to go in this one. And Kennesaw State is going to pull the upset over North Dakota State.
3, 2, 1.
That's the ball game, folks. Kennesaw State 6-4 over North Dakota State. Anthony Grisanti coaches his team to the upset, and Kennesaw sweeps their games here in St. Louis. When we come back, Todd Walker will be down on the field with head coach Anthony Grisanti from Kennesaw State and his goaltender, Andrew Flood, the game-winning goalie. Again, your final score, 6-4. We'll be back right after this.
Harris makes 2-3 moves, scores!
Here come the Ducks. San Jose finds the back of the net. Bryant inside to Yealy. This is going to be a goal for Yealy. Bojano into the middle to cross. Bounce. Score! Sean Beer sends it up top. Left-handed shot by Vasilevsky.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
It's a game of hits, swagger, precision,
to keep their hopes alive here.
and grit.
With a flag.
Lacrosse, spring's toughest sport.
Whistler shot, he scores. Fires, score. What a beautiful pass. Charges in, scores.
Don't miss Lehigh take on Navy. Friday at 7. Only on CBS Sports Network.
And we're down here fieldside with head coach Anthony Grisanti of the winning Kennesaw State Fighting Owls. And coach, I'd be lying if I said it was a pretty game. A little loosey-goosey on both sides of the ball, but you came out with a nice W.
Absolutely. Our kids played harder than I've ever seen them play before. It was obvious that they wanted this more than anything. And just watching them swarm to every single ground ball. I know they got tired there at the end. North Dakota State did a great job of coming back and actually closing our lead on them. My kids did a great job reacting to that, picking up the pace and putting a couple in the net late in the game when we really needed it, and then playing great defense for the last 3 straight minutes.
Hey, Coach, how much of an effect do you think North Dakota State playing a game earlier today had on their effort today?
I think that probably had a big impact on them. You know, they played a very good team this morning, and it was a one-goal game. You know, they still showed good legs today in the beginning of the game. At the end of the game, I think they had more legs than we did at times. I think it had an impact, but they're a great team, and they were able to bounce back from that and give us a really great game.
All in all, a great weekend for the Owls. Congratulations, Coach. I suspect you would not mind coming back next year if we do it again.
Absolutely not.
Okay, and we're here with, again, our BAM Shaft player of the game, goalie Andrew Flood for the Owls. And Andrew, another terrific game today.
Thank you. I got to give credit to the entire defense, to be honest. We all just, it was one of those games, we were a little anxious. We didn't get our game got rained out yesterday. So we got a long bus ride back, and we did not want to go back disappointed. We definitely wanted to have some little excitement on the bus or something to be cheerful about.
Yeah, you and your D did a nice job limiting the shots and certainly the shots on goal. And talk about some of the your midi defense. I thought was good too, keeping the North Dakota State guys from getting good looks at you.
Yeah, usually I hound on the middies all the time. But we had the right personnel on there. They played. Everyone did their part. Everyone contributed, and for that we came away with a hard fought. It was a dogfight. Like you said, it wasn't the prettiest, but defensive game. It's what our whole unit thrives for. So it was definitely everyone contributed to the win.
Great. Down here with two-time BAM Shaft Player of the Game, Andrew Flood, and Coach Anthony Grisanti, the victorious Kennesaw State Owls. Back up to you, Dan.
Thanks, Todd. Great game for the Owls today, and kudos to them, and kudos down to North Dakota State as well in their efforts, playing 2 today, and now they face a long bus ride back to Fargo, North Dakota. 6-4 your final score. That rhymes. Kennesaw State over North Dakota State. We'll be back to wrap this whole weekend up right after this.
Experience the energy of college lacrosse at the Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic when the nation's elite play in prime time at Sports Authority Field on Friday, April 27th. Virginia versus Penn, Duke versus Denver. A championship-ready lineup that showcases the intensity of the nation's fastest-growing sport. For tickets and schedule, call 303-OUTLAWS or log on to MileHighLaxClassic.com. The Whitman Sampler Mile High Classic, elevating lacrosse.
This is Bob Clarkson with Davenport University Panthers, and you're watching Lax TV.
Dan Matthews and Todd Walker back with you here at Gay Field at Centene Stadium in Clayton, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis. Wrapping up for us this weekend at the St. Louis Invitational. There will be another game tomorrow. Missouri Baptist playing host to Davenport. And should Davenport lose that game, the shakeup in the polls may be greater than we think.
Well, there's gonna be a pretty big shakeup no matter what happens. It's just a question of how far some people fall and how high up some people get. But yeah, you're right, Dan. A lacrosse-filled weekend with bells on. We saw a lot of games, saw a lot of good lacrosse, saw some sloppy lacrosse. Some of it due to I think some teams playing. Certainly North Dakota State seeing the effects of playing 2 games in one day, which is always hard.
6 games in 4 days for us. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a couple of extensive weather delays. 3 blowouts, 3 really solid lacrosse games that were a whole lot of fun to do. It kind of is the way of the MCLA.
Yeah, you kind of never know what, sort of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. But we saw some really good lacrosse with St. Thomas and Davenport. North Dakota State played a great game this morning to come out on top. I think that first game certainly affected the way they played here this afternoon. Kennesaw. Like I told Coach Grisanti, nobody's going to describe that as a pretty win, but a win nonetheless, and we'll see how far that marches them up in the polls.
Really, all that matters is that the W ends up on the board.
They all look the same in the win-loss column, and it's tough to tell whether it was beautiful or a slop fest. And so Coach Grisanti will certainly take that one and gladly hop on the bus back to Georgia.
An outstanding weekend of lacrosse. We were proud to be a part of it. We have more action scheduled, like we said, folks, but can't do it without a little bit of help from you and some of those sponsors that we're still looking to secure. So please make sure that you do everything you can to keep Lax TV on the air, because we're having a blast.
We hope you like what we do. We know we like what we do. So keep us going, folks, and get us back on the road, and we'll be happily do some more games.
We definitely have a few thank yous to shout out, and we certainly appreciate Andy Jolly for putting together the St. Louis Invitational. We appreciate our host fields here at Gay Field at Centene Stadium, as well as over at CBC, Christian Brothers College High School. And we're pleased that we got to see and use your facilities this weekend.
Yeah, and special thanks to our production folks at Lax TV, Panchito Ojeda and Will Moss. A super duper extra special thanks to production director Guy Yankovic and video director Stephen Bodo. Thanks to our camera crew, Russ Bello, Robbie Hopt, and Ashley Alcamo.
Folks, we don't know when the next time is going to be. It's supposed to be Salt Lake 2 weeks from now. Until the next time, though, so long from St. Louis. Again, your final score. North Dakota State 4, Kennesaw State, the victors with 6 balls into the back of the cage. We'll talk to you again sometime soon. I'm Dan Matthews for Todd Walker. So long, everybody.